So we're here mid-May, and obviously we've been dealing with this coronavirus thing on a major way for a solid 2 months now. Can you tell me a little bit about how that's impacted business?
Well, there's been so many different variables that combined made a big impact on what we were doing. I think going into this, we knew there was going to be some changes and some challenges, but I think that nobody had a real comprehension of the magnitude that it was going to be. Where you might go get gas and see gas prices going down, and that puts a smile on people's face. But our billing process to our clients has a fuel surcharge component to it that's independent from the line haul price. So when fuel goes down, that means the billable amounts that I can charge our customers, that also goes down. So that affects our overall revenue. And so when fuel dropped the way that it did during all of this, that had a financial impact almost immediately across the board. Another thing that it did was the supply and demand sort of started to scale out. Initially there was a tremendous amount of concern, I think, just for the safety of the drivers. Mm-hmm. So a large portion of not only our drivers, but just drivers across the country opted out from participating in just day-to-day work. Even though transportation or logistics was considered an essential industry, it was still by discretion. If somebody feels like they're putting their health in jeopardy or their family in jeopardy by going out and working, so a large portion of drivers just stopped working.
Wow.
So then the supply and demand gets offset, and then all of a sudden, something that used to cost a shipment that maybe cost $500 to go from here to San Antonio, now the cost is almost doubled because there's half as many truck drivers out there doing the work, and so the supply and demand affects the market share cost that it takes to get a truck from anywhere. So then we were kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how to deal with that. Then it sort of went the other way, where you started seeing the consumer bottleneck issue. I mentioned earlier that we ship for Tempur-Pedic, and that's a consumer-driven product. Mm-hmm. So when they said that if you were not an essential business, that you had to close your doors, so every mattress firm and every other furniture store that sells mattresses, since they weren't open, they weren't selling mattresses, so there was no need to replenish the mattress. So therefore, the distribution center to the store, which was the transportation leg that we took care of, just went away. Yeah. Not because the contract was bad or because people stopped needing mattresses, but just the businesses weren't open. So over the course of week after week, we started to see a significant amount of the consistent work that we had in Atlanta, in Indiana, Phoenix, and right here in Roanoke, just started to diminish week over week. So there was the idea of how many other customers do we have that has a consumer-driven product that this essential bottleneck issue is going to affect it. So right when we thought we were tackling one issue, another one would surface, and we'd have to look at that and see how we were going to adjust and address it. So it's just it was a lot. It was a lot happening, relatively quickly. That was external. That wasn't even internal. The office, and how do we keep our employees safe? How do we make sure that we're practicing social distancing, making sure that everybody has the right equipment to go remote if we have to. I've got 2 kids of my own. Half my staff has kids, and so kids are staying home from school, and so now I've got people that have the technology to work remote, but isn't necessarily a work environment. When you've got Dora the Explorer in the background and dogs barking, and you're trying to, talk with your customers and, high-level corporate conversations about big situations going on, and then, your 5-year-old runs across the thing. So it was tough in the beginning, but I think the human element started to settle in across the board, where it didn't matter if you were a C-level executive or just a blue-collar warehouse worker, that to some degree we all had the same struggles, as that we were adapting to something new. And so I'd say the politically correct or the, professionally conscious, things like that became less of a factor, and producing results during this challenging time was really started to become the underlining, focus. Not what you're wearing, how clear is your Zoom, how great is the audio. It was, can your business continue to function? Can we still turn a profit? Do the employees still have positions and jobs? And so as the main thing became the main thing, then a lot of the superficial concerns that we had early on started to become less important. And to be honest, the longer we did it, the better we got at it. So we quickly learned what programs we were using, logging in remotely to the server, that kind of stuff. Every business is a little different, but I think inside of about a week and a half, we had a pretty good handle on how we were gonna function, to it. So there was reluctancy, I think, from everybody in the beginning, but looking back on it, even when things go back to whatever the normal is going to be, I think that we're going to be utilizing this whole remote with our team a lot more than we would have had this not happened, because it's effective, and for some of our employees that travel a great distance, and that really plays a part in how effective they can be at their position. This may be something that we have like a hybrid moving forward that would be half the time in the office and half the time remote. So
Sure.
it hasn't been all bad.